be outrageous if they put him in the program. Number one, there's testing protocol. If he tests dirty, you got him. If not, you don't. You religiously, as you say, Stephen A., point to the CBA. It has been collectively bargained. If the NFL doesn't like it, do a better job bargaining that out next time. One. Two, in terms of erratic behavior or the behavior that would suggest drug use, where at the NFL's discretion they could put someone in a program, that relates obviously to chronic lateness, erratic behavior that is consistent with drug use. Lying in bed with a woman is not consistent with drug use. Now, he had what appeared to be a blunt in his hand. Who is to say what that blunt is filled with? Of course, you can roll your eyes and say, come on, a blunt, there's weed in there. Number one, I don't care if there is weed in there. It's outrageous that the NFL that sells out, that is in bed with companies that sell alcohol, which I will say every time this subject comes up, is by every objective study ever done, similar but worse for you, and certainly of far greater societal cost than marijuana. It is hypocritical and outrageous that the NFL even tests for marijuana. Yet they do. You can't prove that marijuana was in that blunt. How do you know there's not tobacco or nothing, and how do you know he's even smoking it? That's one. Two, the lines of cocaine, which obviously a white powder. I suppose it could be other things, but that might be just, as bad or worse, the other things it could be. But the lines which many assume are cocaine was not in front of him. You do not see him doing that. It is not, I don't think you can be forced into a drug program because someone you're with is using drugs. That is very different than you using drugs. I do not see how the behavior of a guy who goes to Miami before the playoffs is consistent with a drug user. You want to be mad at Odell? I am. He dropped passes in that playoff game. Hey, Odell, hold on to the ball. I don't think that's consistent with a drug user. I haven't heard that this guy is chronically late, that he's having problems with teammates, that he's not communicative with people on the team. I haven't heard any behavior that I would say rises to the level where even if it's discretionary, the NFL can say, you, get into a drug program. Now, do I like the fact that that video is out? Whatever he wants to do in his private time, to me, is his business. I would suggest strongly that he stays away from something like cocaine. Kids, that's as the Chappelle Show pointed out,
make up your mind.
If nothing else, it's a hell of a drug.
Make up your mind. You just finished saying in his private time he could do whatever he wants to do. But then you're saying you would advise. All right, what are you saying?
He is a role model. He is a public figure. He gets paid to endorse products, and I had no problem if the people who pay him to endorse their products says, whoa, you were dumb enough to let that video of you be made in a hotel room or in a room with, lying in bed where there appears to be drugs. We don't want you to endorse our product. I don't think the NFL can say you have to go into drug treatment.
You have forced me to ask you a ridiculous question, but I need clarification here because of what you just said. You emphasized that he could do what he wants in his own time. So I am asking you, Max Kellerman, if Odell Beckham Jr. was in Paris in the offseason and he was doing some cocaine, you think he should be on the Giants? You think he should be in the NFL?
Did they catch him doing the cocaine?
No.
No, he's saying if he did, though.
I'm saying
look, the fact of the matter is, Stephen A., let me answer that question with a question.
Why? Why can't you answer that question first?
Because I think this will illuminate the question. It'll illuminate the thought. Can you think of anyone else ever on the Giants who was the best at what they did, better than Odell even as a receiver? And was was there drug use involved, and how did he play?
Yes. He was drug use involved.
Right. So as a human being, would I want Lawrence Taylor to get help? Yes. As a Giants fan, if it cut short his prime? Sure. But was he also the best player in the league? Yes, he was.
Max, he was the best player in the league. If he was doing cocaine, he should not have been playing in the National Football League. I have no problem saying that. I have no problem saying that. He shouldn't be playing in the National Football League if he was doing coke.
My own feeling is no one should be doing cocaine. And it is a good thing for the league to test for it and to weed out the people who are doing it.
But I
also feel what people do in their private lives for recreation, so long as it's not a harm to anyone else, is not my business. And the NFL has a drug testing protocol. And if they catch him, they should do what they need to do. And if they don't, what are we talking about?
But based on what you're saying, because it's in the offseason, they shouldn't even think about testing him because even if he did something so egregious, it's still none of their business.
I'm not saying that, Stephen A. I'm saying based on the evidence they have, it doesn't rise to the level where they can, even with discretionary power, say, enter a drug program. What do they have in his behavior that they can make that claim?
Let's go a far more innocuous route. Tom Brady with the deflated footballs. We all thought that was relatively ridiculous. He still got 4 games. You know why? Because even though emotionally we understand where you're coming from in terms of right and wrong as it pertains to Odell, the key words here are the discretion of the medical director for the drug intervention program. If you decide as the medical director, because that has been collectively bargained, if you decide that you have enough evidence where this individual should be tested, and you shouldn't have to wait until April 20th or whatever the case may be, I'm saying it's something that's open for debate as to whether or not that could actually happen, because it's my understanding that it's at the discretion of the medical director to make that call. Now, you can be appalled by it, but it doesn't mean that they don't have the right to do it. That's what I'm saying.
But I'm not saying it's not open to debate. It's just that I believe you lose that debate if you say his behavior rises to the level, even with discretion, that a medical director could say you must involuntarily, you are compelled to enter this drug program. I don't believe it. What has he done that suggests that? That suggests that he's a drug user?